Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we will be discussing how I plan to bench 405 pounds and run a mile under 5 minutes. So some background about me, here are my current stats. I am currently a 180 pound bodybuilder. I bench 315 pounds and I run a 4 minute and 52-second mile. So I'm trying to take my bench from 315 to 405. Some more background. I've been running for 16 years. I've been cycling for 12 years, and I've been bodybuilding for 8 years. I've been doing hybrid training, so bodybuilding and cardio concurrently for 8 years. And although it took me 8 years to bench 315, I am very confident that I can go from 315 to 405 in the next 2 years because I'm really dialing in my training and I'm doing some stuff that I haven't done before. And so let's jump right into it. Here's my routine. This is currently what my routine is, and this is kind of what I anticipate will get me to 405. It's 2 years is a long time. I suspect that I will get to 405 in 2 years. It might take longer, it might be faster, but this is the routine I'm currently following to get there. So Monday, I train shoulders and forearms heavy. Tuesday, I do lats and biceps heavy. Wednesday, I train chest and triceps heavy. Thursday, I do lats and shoulders high volume. Friday, I do biceps and triceps high volume. Saturday, I do traps, incline dumbbell bench press, incline barbell bench press heavy. And Sunday, I train legs. Now, heavy. Now, Thursday and Friday, I have high volume lats and shoulders, high volume biceps and triceps. And the purpose of this is because ultimately, at the end of the day, while I am trying to bench 405, I am ultimately a bodybuilder, which means I have to train like a bodybuilder. So, in order to so ultimately, I want to compete. I want to do classic physique and men's physique one day, and so I had to have really developed lats and shoulders for that, and of course, I had to have super developed biceps and triceps for that. But also, it's beneficial because your lats are very important when it comes to bench pressing for stability. Your shoulders are all three hits of the shoulders are very important for bench pressing, especially the rear delts, which are often undertrained, and they're very clear. And the triceps are also very important for bench pressing, but they're also very important for bodybuilding. Okay, so not only is this going to help me bench 405, it's going to help me with my bodybuilding goals in the future. And having these muscles strong is never a weakness. And here's the scheme I'm following now. This scheme is very unorthodox, but it works. Okay, now a lot of people might think it's way too slow, it's not optimal. But the thing about this, I've been using this scheme for about 2 years now. Um, and it is super effective. It is super optimal for gains. It's very slow, but keep in mind, I'm a 180-pound bodybuilder. I can dumbbell shoulder press 100-pound dumbbells for about 12 times. I can do that. I can incline dumbbell bench press to 120s 5 times. I can incline dumbbell bench to flat. Um, I can flat dumbbell bench press 120 about 7 times. I can do weighted pull ups. My working set right now is 65 pounds. I can do way more one rep max. My working set of dips is like 120 pounds. I can do one more weight rep max. But the point is, I'm very strong for a natural bodybuilder. I'm generally one of the stronger people, or if not the strongest person in a commercial gym, especially at my weight class. Of course, there's many people who are substantially stronger and better than me, but for my weight class and just overall strength, and not weight class included, I'm pretty freaking strong, and I attribute it to this lifting stream. So don't knock it before you try it. So this lifting scheme, I'd recommend people start at about 70% of their training one rep max. So if you bench press 300 pounds, I recommend making your working set 70% of 300, which is 210 pounds. Okay. When it comes to percentages of your working set, a lot of people they train, they set their working sets too high. What you have to realize is that you're building strength from like the 65 to 85% range. Okay, really 65 to 80% range is the sweet spot for building strength. But a lot of lifters, what they tend to do is they tend to put their working set at the higher end of the of their working set strength. So that becomes problematic because like you have to master the fundamentals, right? So you have to master the 65 to 70% range before you can master the 78 to 80% range. Okay, you have to master the 70 to 75% range before you can master the 75 to 80% range. So let's say you can bench press 225 for 8. That's good, but like you're still building strength when you rep out 210. Okay, like assuming your max is 300 pounds. So you want to master the 70% range, and you increase your working set slowly over time so you can build strength that lasts and strength that stays. So the lifting scheme is as follows: week 1, 4 sets of 3; week 2, 4 sets of 4; week 3, 4 sets of 5. You see what I'm doing? I'm just adding a set each week. Week 4, 4 sets of 6; week 5, 4 sets of 7; week 6, 3 sets of 8. Once you get to week 6, once you can do 3 sets of 8, you want to add 5 pounds to your working set. Okay, so once let's say you're at 210 bench after 6 weeks, if you can do 3 by 8, you add 5 pounds, and you can do you start over: 4 sets of 3, 4 sets of 4, 4 sets of 5, 4 sets of 6, 4 sets of 7, 3 sets of 8, and then you just add 5 pounds to your working set. I have made phenomenal gains doing this, but you have to think like it comes slowly, right? Like it takes a long time to build strength like this, but again, this is strength that stays. It's strength that lasts. It's honest. It's true. It won't go away. It's not peak strength. You're just building strength. There's a time for peaking, but yeah, I highly encourage this game. Okay, right? But you have to think about it. Like if you're working set, if you're 100, if you're like me, my working set on barbell curls is 125 pounds. Okay, so that means my working set, not my 1 rep max, my working set is 125 pounds. I sincerely I don't think I've ever seen anyone in a gym have their working set at 125 pounds. I mean, it's pretty strong, but it's nothing crazy. There's certainly people who can do a lot more than that for their working sets. But the point I'm trying to make is, at my body weight as a natural, it's very hard to progress, right? So it means you have to progress very, very slowly. Okay, so my plan is to add 1 rep per week until for 6 weeks until I get to 3 by 8. Once I get to 3 by 8, add 5 pounds to my working set. So I'm currently my bench press is at 245 pounds, 4 sets of 7. So on next Wednesday, I'll do 245, 4 by 7. Week after that, 245, 3 by 8. If I can do 3 by 8, I'll add 5 pounds. Okay. Now, my weakness with bench press, why it took me so long to bench 315, I'd argue that I've had the strength to bench 315 about 2 years ago. But I do triathlon training. I run a lot. I have seasons where I run more than I lift, and I don't take lifting as seriously. Over the 8 years, um, so I've lost a lot of strength to gain it back. But my weakness, generally speaking, is that I never incorporated heavy singles. So while I had the strength to bench 315 this time last year, my body wasn't used to the weight, and that's because I never incorporated heavy singles. I rarely went higher than my working set, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to incorporate heavy singles every single week. Okay, so before I do my working sets, I'm going to do I'm going to warm up, and then I'm going to build up to my heavy single for that day. So for example, I'll start at 85% of my 1 rep max. So like this week I did 280. I warmed up and built up to 280 pounds touch and go, just a good controlled 280 touch and go, and I'll add. And then the week after that, I'll do it that weight again 1 more time, and every 2 weeks, or every 2 weeks, I will increase it by 5 pounds. So weeks 1 through 2, 280; weeks 3 through 4, 285; weeks 5 through 6, 290; weeks 7 through 8, 295; weeks 8 through 9, 290, and so on until I get to week 12. Week 12 is when I'll test my 1 rep max. I'm trying to add 10 pounds to my 1 rep max every um, 12 weeks. I think that's a very reasonable goal. I think I might even add a lot more than 10 pounds after this first training cycle, because I'm going to be incorporating heavy singles, which is something I haven't done before. And so my body's going to be way more used to heavy weight, right? But in addition to doing 85% of my 1 rep max, whenever I do go for a PR or whenever I do go extremely heavy, my weakness is always off my chest, which indicates two things. My weakness is probably my pecs. If I have any weaknesses, it's probably at my pecs, and it means I might have a problem with staying tight at the bottom, right? So I'm also going to incorporate pause bench press. Um, my pause bench press, it's going to follow the same scheme as my 85% of my 1 rep max, but it's going to be 15 pounds lighter. So for example, today my touch and go heaviest was 280, and then I did 2 reps of 265 pounds paused. And so I hold for 2 seconds, 1, 2, press. So I'll pause in my chest, 1, 2, press. And that's going to help address my weak point, which is off the chest. Pause bench is going to help strengthen me off the chest. It's going to teach me and kind of force me to stay tight, right? So that's how I plan to do that. Bench 405 again. I've never, the highest I've gone is 315. This is getting into some serious weight territory, so we'll see how it goes. I'll address as needed, but that's the current lifting scheme, okay? And I'm pretty confident it's gonna work. Now my running, how I plan on doing this, running a mile under 5 minutes. So I'm gonna run 50 miles a week, which is pretty normal for me. I can easily run 50 miles a week, especially over the span of 6 days. But the idea is I'll take Tuesday off. I run every day but Tuesday. But the idea is I'll do 4 aerobic runs, and by aerobic runs, I just mean like nice and easy, not like a recovery pace, but a zone 2 pace. And for those of you who don't know, zone 2, which is the pace at which you can run and have a conversation with someone pretty chill, just like a normal aerobic run. I'll do 1 long run, um, anywhere from like 12 to 20 miles. I don't need to do a long run that far, but I'm also training to run a 5K under 16 minutes. So while I want to run a mile under 5 minutes, the real goal is to run a 5K under 16 minutes. So um, I'll do 1 long run, so anywhere from 12 to 20 miles. My longest run doesn't have to be 20 miles, but I love running. You have to keep in mind I've been running for 16 years. I've been running since I was 13, so I like running. So a 20-mile run, absolutely not necessary for a 5K, but when you love running, it's what you want to do. All right, I'll have 1 workout per week. The workout will just depend on where I am in prep at that point in time. Right. So if I'm in the early stages, I'll do some threshold or tempo work, which are just longer efforts at an intensity that I can sustain for about an hour. Or as I approach closer to race day, I'll do more track work. So I'll do more VO2 max efforts. So something like 5 by 1,000 at 5K pace, 8 by 800 at 2K, 3K pace. Um, um, more more anaerobic stuff too. So like 300s, 200s at like mile pace. I also do strides 2 times a week. I'll do strides flat. And strides, for those of you who don't know, are just essentially sprints. They help you develop speed, power, turnover. I'll do those 2 times a week. I'll do those flat on a flat surface like a track or a road, and I'll also do them uphill. Just something like 5 by 100 meters, just for power, strength, turnover. Um, also, this is very important. I will always lift before running weights. I cannot run and then lift effectively. Some people can. I don't encourage hybrids who are new to this to do that. For me, in my experience, more importantly, in my observation of other people, I have observed that if you run prior to lifting, your lift will be greatly affected negatively, and it doesn't matter how long of a break you have in between or how much food you eat in between sessions, your lift will oftentimes be adversely affected by your lift. So I would encourage everyone to always lift before running. So like me, I lift in the morning from 5 to 5:45, and also during my lunch break from like 11:45 to 12:15. So that's about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't spend more than 75 minutes in the gym. In my diet, I'll definitely be eating at maintenance calories. Now I'll be eating a minimum of 250 grams of protein every single day. Of course, I don't need that much protein, but I've found in myself that I perform much better when I eat a high protein diet. And of course, I'm running 50 miles a week, so my body will want to use protein as energy. It'll want to burn off muscle, and so eating high protein will help me preserve muscle and build strength, and hopefully build muscle too. But that is how I plan to bench 405 and run a mile under 5 minutes. I can currently do 315 and 452, so it's totally possible. It's going to be hard but doable. But yeah, if you guys are interested, I offer one-on-one coaching, how to bodybuild, how to become a hybrid, all that good stuff. Links in the bio. And if y'all enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.